Hello and welcome to another episode of Guts and Guns, where we talk about the things that matter. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Guts and Guns. Glad you guys made it back. I guess today I'm going to talk about something completely different than obviously the last couple of episodes. So we talked about guns, we talked about politics. I mean, obviously there's a lot more on both of those subjects, but, might as well talk about a little bit about first aid. I don't know if you guys know this, but most of the people out there in the first aid world, by first aid world, I mean the people who give credentials to teach things like this. There's a few exceptions to this rule, but most of the people out there have this criteria that they are the be-all, end-all for that particular subject. What do I mean by that? Well, I ran into this very interesting scenario when it came to a Stop the Bleed class. And I'm sorry, it's hard for me not to laugh about it because I honestly just find it completely and utterly ridiculous. The American College of Surgeons is the group of people that's behind the Stop the Bleed class. Now, I don't know if you guys understand what Stop the Bleed really is, but Stop the Bleed is basically you learn how to use direct pressure to stop bleeding. You learn how to use a tourniquet to stop bleeding. And you learn to use a hemostatic bandage or gauze to pack a wound to stop bleeding. That's the replacement of tissue. And that's pretty much what you are taught in order to stop bleeding. Now, they put themselves at this really high level and they try to tell people, yes, we want everybody to learn this. We want everybody to understand how to stop bleeding because bleeding is the reason that a lot of people die. And if everyone just knew how to stop bleeding in people, then a lot more lives would be saved. So, that being said, I looked into teaching this class, and what I found out was eye-opening and actually kind of sad at the same time. So they tell me that, they want everybody to learn this across the nation, and they teach every single person out there how to do this stuff. And they teach them how to use the stuff properly, and they go through this process of teaching. So I said, okay, well, I'm a first aid instructor. I should learn how to do this and actually teach this class and give the credentials out as well. That's not a big deal. So I get in contact with the ACS, or I at least get onto their website, and I'm trying to figure out how to become an instructor for this, and I'm looking at how it works. And I said, okay. And then I signed up for this trial, I guess, instructor thing that they have online. And I get it all set up, and I still don't quite understand it because it's like, okay, I have a month to show them a credential that says I can teach this class. So I start looking at the credentials, and I'm kind of dumbfounded. So I make a phone call to the ACS, and it takes them a few days, if not a week, to get back to me. Mind you, I have instructor credentials for first aid through the Red Cross. And I teach how to stop bleeding via direct pressure, via tourniquet, and packing wounds. Now, it's a little different. It's different different classes in different ways. It's not all in one first aid class. I'm a wilderness and remote first aid instructor, as well as a standard CPR Red Cross first aid instructor, and BLS and CPR for professionals, and a few other things, credentials that I have through them. And anyways, so I'm going, okay, so what credentials could I possibly need? And I didn't quite understand this, so I give them a call, and about a week later I get a call back from them. And I don't remember who she introduced herself as, and I wouldn't say her name anyways, but she seemed nice. And I asked her about the credential program, and I said, I don't understand this. Could you please give me some more information? What exactly are you guys looking for instructors to become instructors of a Stop the Bleed class? Now, mind you, this is nothing more than stop the bleed. This isn't immobilizing broken bones or immobilizing a neck injury or, doing IVs or anything serious like that. This is literally just stopping bleeding. She says, well, you said correctly that you need a minimum of an EMT license, a first responder license, in order to teach this class, unless you're a doctor or something of that nature. And I said, wait a minute, excuse me, wait. You mean to tell me that you want EMT classification minimum, paramedic, first responder kind of stuff? And they allow police officers, because they're first responders, to teach this class as well, but not instructors of first aid that actually issue the same certification that police officers have to be certified in order to stop the bleed on their jobs. Now, I find this completely asinine, because police officers have to take a class through me, well, not necessarily through me, but through somebody like me, in order to get certified to give CPR, first aid, and AED help to somebody on the street. And then they can teach stop the bleed where we cannot. So I would have to in turn then go take a class from them, if they were instructors, to get my cert and stop the bleed. Now, how does that work? Where does the ACS or the American College of Surgeons get off saying that I'm not qualified to teach this class? I think it's really funny, and it cracks me up. And because they set the standard for this, the American Red Cross has a program called FAST, and that's the First Aid for Severe Trauma. And that's basically a stop the bleed class through American Red Cross. And they require the same certs, because the ACS required it from them in order to get it approved. I'm just dumbfounded by this complete idiocracy. This is nothing more than the ACS trying to make money, and I find that sad, because they come off as they're genuine and they want to do this stop the bleed thing, and they're the bleeding hearts of these people. Yes, we have to teach these people how to stop bleeding, but then they don't want people to teach it that actually are passionate about teaching it, number one, and qualified to teach it, number two, because their criteria is way out of reach for anybody to teach this kind of class, unless they're a first responder. So anyways, I thought this was the funniest thing in the world, number one, and the most asinine thing in the world, number two, and the most idiotic thing, number three. So, I mean, other than, some other things I've seen in politics. But it's just ridiculous. So, I don't know. You guys tell me. What do you think? Am I crazy? Am I thinking of this in the wrong light? Maybe you guys have different thoughts. Give me your thoughts. Tell me what you think. I think it's crazy, but hey, you tell me. Anyways, there you go. Short and sweet for the day. Talk to you next time. Well, that's it for this episode, folks. We hope you tune in for the next one. Until then, have a great week.